Okay. Welcome everybody to Mountain Travel Sobek's presentation on Namibia. We're very excited to get the opportunity today to talk about exciting tours that Mountain Travel Sobek does. My name is Birgit Bekker. I work for Ultimate Safaris, who on behalf of Mountain Travel operates as the ground operator for the last couple of years. We act as the representative in Namibia. I know I have a very strange accent. I'm actually fourth generation Namibian of German descent. You find quite a lot of German history and architecture throughout your trip in Namibia. I'm really excited to be able to present today about the two tours that Mountain Travel Sobek has on offer. I myself have over 2 years or 2 decades of experience for Southern Africa tourism. So I'm really excited to be able to present to you a little bit about what makes our country so special and unique. I think first of all we look at stats and figures. It's twice the size of California, but compared to the 38 million plus people living in the state of California, Namibia only has 2.3 million citizens. That makes us the second least densely populated country in the world after Mongolia. It's kind of like the good news destination of Africa. It's through our forward-thinking conservation initiatives that include a growing population of the endangered black rhino and desert lion, as well as the largest population of free-roaming cheetahs. It's important to note we are not a typical big game destination. You will not actually find the big five in one spot. But for us, it's about the refined wildlife experience, enjoying the most magnificent landscapes and hearing the fascinating stories behind the wildlife sightings that you get to see on your Namibian safari, including learning more about the desert adaptations of the elephant, lion, and rhino. Of course, weather is important, and people always want to know when's the best time to come. Mountain Travel's tours run in our winter season, which is from June through to August, as well as one October departure. That is a wonderful time to come to Namibia. It is our winter time, but yes, it's very dry during that time, which means game viewing is at its prime. In Namibia, we pretty much guarantee sunshine daily, and during the winter months especially, because our rains only start, if we're lucky, around November or December. Never underestimate, however, it can get cold in Namibia and can easily drop to the mid to low 40s in June. So do bring along fleeces for the mornings and evenings. But the winter days are averages about 70, and that makes it just a really pleasant sunny time to go. You can be assured splendid weather throughout on your holiday in Namibia, as long as you're prepared for the cold mornings and the evenings. Now, in the legacy and tradition of Mountain Travel Sobek, you will be guided by local expert natural guides of the highest caliber. All are English-speaking Namibians. You will get to explore not only Namibia's key attractions, but also explore a lot of special places that only our guides know about. Therefore, we ensure authentic cultural encounters and exceptional wildlife sightings. For example, Perez, who's on the bottom left of the corners of the pictures, has actually done a Mountain Travel Sobek guide seminar in San Francisco a few years ago. So ensure that there is a lot of overlap on the brand that you have come to know as Mountain Travel Sobek. Your days will be assured to be filled with a mix of adventure and exploration, learning from the seemingly inexhaustible fountain of knowledge from our guides. Equipment is, of course, important. As mentioned, Namibia is quite a large country, and you will easily cover up to 1,300 miles in the 2 weeks you are traveling with us. But be assured you get plenty of opportunity to disembark and explore your surroundings. Because of the vastness of the country, we do make sure that you are as comfortable as possible. And other than a potent air conditioner, which is welcomed even in winter, our vehicles do come with charging facilities and for your phones and cameras, guaranteed window seats for all the guests traveling, pop tops. These are the insides of the vehicles. You can see the pop tops that lift up on top of you for great game viewing, exceptional vantage point for this. We do have trailers, so if you have too much luggage, we can lug it in the trailer. They're off-road trailers. We develop and innovate on these cars continuously to make sure that we travel around our country as comfortably as possible, never missing an interesting sight along the way. The first tour that we do with Mountain Travel Sobek is the Ultimate Namibia Safari. This is a wonderful highlights of Namibia tour, which offers, of course, also lots of unique attractions. You can learn more about the conservation efforts of the African Foundation. This involves the lions, leopard, cheetah, hyena, wild dog, and other predators that are being protected through this initiative. You can enjoy the huge diversity of wildlife that frequents the waterhole at Etosha. You can explore the Dammerland, one of my favorite places in Namibia, where you could possibly encounter both desert-adapted elephant as well as black rhino on trekking excursions by vehicle and foot, and have real authentic cultural encounters with the photogenic Himba people. You learn more about the Sun history by visiting rock engravings, have fun encounters with the Cape fur seals on kayak excursion, and then end up by exploring the sands of the gorgeous red dunes of the Namib Desert. All this just in one tour with Mountain Travel Sobek. You arrive in Namibia and stay the first night in our capital city, Windhoek. It's only got 330,000 people, which means it's a small town, but it's very well developed, has an excellent choice of restaurants and local shopping, and the ideal place to recover from what I'm certain is a very long flight from your home in the States. Your first night will be at the Galton House. The Galton House is the guest house in all the Windhoek accommodations on the Mountain Travel Sobek tours. It's got lounge area, on-site Wi-Fi, on-site restaurant, and this is where your Namibian guides will meet you and brief you about your upcoming safari. This is also where you meet the rest of your safari participants and travelers. And this is where you'll have dinner on the first night as you now start to hear more about your upcoming adventure with us. Then the next morning, we go onwards after breakfast and leave on quite a short drive. It's about 3 hours of tar road with your guide to Okonjima. Now, this is home to the African Foundation. It's got a really interesting story behind these protected cheetah. This used to be a private farm where it was quite normal to kill predators indiscriminately to protect your livestock. The Hansen family decided in the 90s that there must be an alternative way to protect this livestock and started to work with other farmers to research predator behavior and launch a variety of projects to protect both the livestock and predators, or then find means such as relocation of predators. You will encounter these animals in large enclosures. Unfortunately, some animals could never be relocated to the wild again. So through them, ambassadors, if you would look like that, guests get to learn more about the conservation efforts of all the animals that have been easily released back into nature. It's through this research of some of the animals in these enclosures that have been able to help so many more wild animals be released back in protected land. Therefore, just be aware that you are going to see a variety of cheetah and leopard, especially in large enclosures. A lot of them have radio collars, which is part of the research that's being used. This is one of the activities that they offer. They offer cheetah trekking, leopard trekking, great birding, a variety of guided walks, staying in really luxurious accommodation. It's a wonderful way to start your first trip in Namibia. It's like, welcome, you've officially arrived in your African adventure and about to really explore the rest of the country. From here, we go to the Etosha National Park, which is Namibia's premier wildlife destination, considering, our limited wildlife in certain parts of the area. You stay at a tented camp, the Anderson's Camp. Now, in Namibia, it's really a bit different to the rest of Africa in terms of wildlife sightings. We don't drive off the road. And this has to do with the upper crust. The sand of the Namibian landscape is very fragile, and driving over it causes permanent erosion. What we do instead is wait around water holes or natural springs, and we'll wait for the wildlife to come to us. In a country like Namibia where water is scarce, the wildlife risks going to the water hole. And this is where you'll have some really exciting wildlife encounters, where you have different species, predator and prey, variety of antelope, You can see here, for example, the zebra together with the rhino coming together. You need to be patient. It means standing in the waterhole for a couple of hours and literally wait for what happens and comes your way. But you're sure to have some exciting sightings. Anderson's camp is a rustic tented camp. It has ensuite facilities, and of course the water holes of the camp make it a great attraction. But what's particularly exciting is the underground hide at the camp. Here you have a very different vantage point, eye level, knee level for some of the animals, great for photographers and wildlife enthusiasts throughout to have a really different experience of the wildlife. And then we're moving on to what I consider my favorite place in Namibia. I swear my soul resides here, the Damaraland. This is home of fascinating rock art, magnificent landscapes, desert-adapted wildlife, and the most amazing sunsets in an ancient land that used to be connected to South America many millennia of years ago. It's true wilderness and something that truly is special in the landscape of Namibia. On your journey from Etosha to Damaraland, we will actually stop along the way at an Ovahimba village. There you will have an authentic cultural encounter. Now we know the cultural encounters are always a bit awkward. Namibian people are very friendly but very shy. But because our guides speak the language and many of them come from the area, there is a authentic engagement with the local communities. It's really human beings getting to meet human beings. It's very important for us that our cultural visits are done in such a way that they're mutually beneficial and respectful, both to the guests as well as the local communities. So I, as a Namibian, actually got to do this cultural tour last year, and I usually don't like them very much, but I had so much fun. That's me with the purple hair. And the community just loved it. The ladies loved it. They've never seen anybody with purple hair before, and they were really totally in awe. Trust me, that day I was the tourist attraction, not the other way around, as they pulled my hair and really tried to understand why would I color my hair purple. When we travel on that day, it's quite a long detour to get to the Huma village, where we spend a couple of hours. We make our guests aware of it, but part of the remoteness is what makes this so special, that very few people get to meet these wonderful people. You end your long day at one of the coolest places in Namibia, and I'm not even biased about it. I just stayed 4 nights there, and it's called the Huap under canvas. That backslash is actually a clicking sound, which I will not try to attempt to say. This is a specially erected tented camp just for Mountain Travel Sobek and their guests. So this is exclusively set up for the 2 nights you stay there. Your own private little haven. It's got all the amenities you need, including soaps, shampoos, towels, bedding, of course. Everything's set up for you. When you arrive, the camp's ready and done. It's built on a deck with this great view over a dry riverbed. It really gives you a different experience. It's all about the experience here. We've got a bucket shower where the shower water is heated on demand for you. So it has this real adventure, experiential experience. Comfort is important, safety is important, without ever compromising on wholesome food, ice-cold beers, exceptional guiding, and adventure. Now, one of the highlights of your stay here is the engagement we have with Save the Rhino Trust. We meet with the rhino rangers on the reserve. They are commissioned by Save the Rhino Trust to protect and monitor these 7 rhinos, including a mother with a 1.5-year-old calf, Martin, plus there's a second female who's pregnant, and she's imminently to give birth. We've had a 100% success rate so far with spotting these rhinos. Most of the excursion goes by walking. We try to drive as close as we can, but because we don't go off-road, it does mean walking over some really rough terrain. It could take an hour, it could take 20 minutes, but it's a really exciting experience, exclusively done for the guests at the Huap under canvas camp for the 2 nights you are there. And it's a really unique experience for Namibian context. From there, after the 2 nights, you go to Camp Kipwe, another wonderful camp in the Damaraland area. It's got a very quirky design overlooking the granite boulders of the and Damaraland, including air-conditioned units. And it's from this camp that we go on searching for desert-adapted elephants in the river system. From there, we drive, and it's quite a long drive as well, about 5-6 hours, to Swakopmund, a really quirky seaside resort with palm trees, but where the weather and waters are pretty cold. So you wouldn't call it a traditional beach resort because very few people would actually attempt to swim without a wetsuit. And it's got this really interesting German colonial architecture. So historically very fascinating from what the German colonials did in this quirky little town. You're staying at the Hansa Hotel, which is over 100 years old, centrally located, so it's a perfect place from which you can explore and venture by foot around. Now, one of the highlights, I myself think it's a personal highlight, is going kayak excursion on the second day in Swakopmund, well actually Walvis Bay. It's a little lagoon just south of Swakopmund. It's a very relaxed paddle. It doesn't require any level of fitness or experience. It's just a gentle paddle as you get close to a seal colony, and you have these wonderful encounters with wild seals as they play and frolic in the calm waters around you. And often curiosity makes them come up quite close to the kayaks. It really is a very special experience seeing seals in their natural experience. And considering the desert country that you're exploring, it's really interesting to add a water-based activity in what is otherwise a very dry, sandy game drive experience. Then from Swakopmund, you drive with your guide down to Sossusvlei, a journey of about 5-6 hours. But what I strongly recommend at optional extra costs is that you instead book a scenic flight from Swakopmund to Sossusvlei. It's about an hour and a half, and depending how clear the weather is, you'll fly over the seal colonies, over an abandoned diamond camp, over of course, the endless dune fields, over 2 shipwrecks, including one shipwreck that stranded over 100 years ago and is found amongst all the sand dunes 500 meters away from the beach. It's extremely well preserved because it's so far from the ocean, and just a definite highlight you want to do in Namibia, especially when you want to get a feel for the skeleton coast. Do book this with your mountain travel consultant if you can. It's well worth the extra expense. And then you arrive in Sossusvlei. If sand was valuable, we would be dominating the world. You end at the best sundowner spot in Namibia, the Namib Park. Here you enjoy visits to the highest sand dunes in the world, where the rising sun colors these dunes in the most magnificent red. Definitely a sight in the mornings to behold. Another really interesting site to visit is this called the Dead Vlei. This used to be part of the river system which got flooded annually with water, but the dunes started to cut off the water. So these acacia trees were cut off from any water, and all that's left is these 900-year-old skeletons of these acacias over the salt pans, overlooking the Big Daddy Dune, one of the highest dunes to explore here. You stay at the Desert Homestead Outpost for 2 nights, which overlooks the gravel plains of the Namib Desert, of the Naukluft area. And as you can see, you are assured the most magnificent sunsets, no matter what time of the year it is. After the safari, you return back to Windhoek. You have another night at the Galton House, where you have a farewell dinner, share stories, and then it's back home. So this is, I think, a great safari, including all the highlights of Namibia, as well as some special off-the-beaten tracks. However, there are also a second tour that we offer, where guests can combine Namibia and Botswana. We know a lot of people say, we're flying all the way to Southern Africa, can't we cover 2 destinations with one? So with this one, we actually cover 3 areas. We cover Namibia, and again, we include all the highlights, which include the Sossusvlei dunes, the Damaraland with its desert-adapted elephants and rhino sightings, as well as the African Foundation. But then you're going to one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, the Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, and end in the lush paradise, the wet, lush paradise of the Sobek National Park and the Okavango Delta. So this tour is similar to the previous tour, except here we start in Sossusvlei, where you explore the dunes, the dead flay. You again have the first night in Windhoek, again where we have the briefing, meeting with the guide, meet with your other travelers, then fly down to Sossusvlei. Here you stay at the Kulala Desert Lodge, unlike the previous safari, which had a different accommodation. But the experience is exactly the same of how you explore the desert. What's really quirky about the Kulala Desert Lodge is that it's got star beds, where you can have a bedroll laid up for you at night, and you can sleep under the open stars. Definitely well worth considering. From Sossusvlei, you then fly to Dammerland. So the previous time when I mentioned that amazing scenic flight that you should book and pay for extra, on this tour that scenic flight is included in your package. So you will fly over the 2 shipwrecks, fly over the Namib Desert, and then you land again at our very special under canvas mobile camp. Here you have 3 nights compared to 2 nights before. Again, focus very much on the rhino trekking. We try to find the desert adapted elephants. Again, this camp is exclusively set up for you. No other guests as you stay in this tented camp sheltered among the mopani trees. From this very special place, we end at the Okonjima Foundation, Okonjima African Foundation. It's such a cool place to start your trip or end your trip. You can see the Sala layout is such a wonderful way to just take time off, really reminiscence on the safari past Namibia, enjoy all the activities on offer that they have, but also have time to really enjoy the stunning scenery of Okonjima. From here, we fly on to Zimbabwe, and we spend the night in Victoria Falls. We again have one night where we stay at the Victoria Falls Hotel, an historical hotel from where your Mountain Travel Sobek representative guide can assist you in arranging a range of guided tours. Most, of course, popular is the actual guided tour of the Victoria Falls, but there are also scenic flights over the falls. There are game drives on offer. There's a range of things to do that we can assist you, booking it on-site or in advance. From there, we go to another contrasting landscape, and it's the Chobe region. We are going to stay at the Muchenyas, the Safari Lodge. It overlooks the Chobe River and probably has one of the richest populations of elephants I've personally encountered. Your first afternoon includes a 4x4 excursion into the Chobe National Park before returning to camp for dinner. And if you're up for it, a night drive after dinner. You never know what nocturnal animals you might spot on this night drive. It adds to the diversity of activities we try to include with your safari. The Muchenya Lodge includes accommodation for just 20 guests in ensuite chalets. It's got their own private deck, great views of the plains down there, offer guided walks, boat cruises, and visit to nearby communities. From here, we end at Shinde Camp. It's located in the northern regions of the Okavango Delta. And the Okavango Delta is what people call the Eden of Africa. It's at last true wilderness, a unique ecosystem where the focus has been on high-end, low-impact tourism to ensure that this experience stays exclusive as possible for you. Shinde is such a good way to end your African adventure. They offer game drives, game walks, boating excursion, including going on a local mokoro, which is like a local kayak from which they explore the many waterways of the Okavango Delta. And just like that, we have the end of your second safari. Here you have it in a nutshell. I could probably spend hours promoting these 2 tours, but I hope that my short intro has given you an inkling of the great adventure that awaits you. And we really hope that we can welcome you to our lovely home next year. Please talk to your Mountain Travel Sobek team. All the contact information is available on the website, including the prices and the departure dates, and you can discuss with them about availabilities and just arranging what I think are amazing trips to Southern Africa. We also had some people asking additional questions, such as, what's the health conditions like, malaria, water. We do recommend you always speak to your doctor about these questions about malaria. It's a low-risk area in Namibia. There's a higher risk in Zimbabwe and Botswana. So please speak to your health professional about the best solution here. Water, generally speaking, is safe to drink. They do provide, however, bottled water everywhere at the lodges, so you can always be ensured to well hydrated. Another guest has asked, how much time do we spend at the Himba village? It is a very informal visit. It can take an hour. Sometimes engagement can get so intensive that we spend a couple of hours there. When I was there, we spent about 2 hours. We really had a two-way conversation going. Our guide translated, but it was really interesting to hear about their families and talk about our families. They were just as curious about Western traditions as we were about theirs. So it is an extensive tour to do. I think that's it. I hope I have covered all the questions that everybody has. But please feel free to reach out to the Mountain Travel Sobek team. They know these destinations very well, have personally explored these countries, and I really hope to welcome you to our country in 2017. Thank you.